Welcome to an opportunity to take the next step of your professional speaking journey. I want you to be honest with yourself. Have you ever wished you were a star in a television show? Or at an event where the media is interviewing bystanders and you are wanting to be picked to give your opinion of the event? Or even in the smallest sense, you're at a sports game and secretly hope that your smiling face would appear on that big jumbo screen TV? But the jumbo screen always finds the fans with the painted faces. And you think to yourself, maybe next time. Well, what if I can offer you a chance to be on TV? Would you take it? That is what I want to offer you now. I'm Dottie Love, Associate TV Producer and Director. Toastmasters International is one of the largest organizations whose mission is to help improve your speaking skills. And District 7 is expanding your opportunities to do speaking via television. We have 4 fully equipped television studios and TV Toastmaster broadcasts to over 500,000 homes, plus a YouTube channel. Who knew? We want to invite you to take advantage of using media and television, either in front or behind the scenes. Let me share a few options that you have. First, you can be a guest on a show. Highlight your business or hobby or your community interest. Anything you're passionate about. Be a featured guest. Secondly, you can train to be a host on an ongoing TV segment. We will train you for that. Third, what about creating your own talk show? We will train you for that as well and give you access to a community media studio to do just that. Or lastly, be behind the scenes, either running a camera or editing shows. You decide which avenue is best for you, and our TV Toastmasters team will help you to navigate to get the most out of your media experience. Personally, I've done them all. I started as a guest, went to hosting, up to directing my own TV show. I don't tell you this to impress you. I tell you this to impress upon you that your personal growth with Toastmasters is directly related to what you take advantage of. And I encourage you to be bold in looking for opportunities to stretch and grow. If this intrigues you, or if you have club members who you think that might be interested in this, please contact us here at TV Toastmasters. I'm Dottie Love, and you can reach me or any of us in the TV Toastmasters family at the contact information at the bottom of the screen. You can also find us on the web. Our website is 7512.toastmastersclub.org.
Welcome back to another episode of TV Toastmasters. I'm your host this evening, Patrick Locke. I'm with Early Words Toastmasters. And we have with us tonight Juan Coronel. And Juan is with the AGC, which is the Associated General Contractors. And Juan and I have a couple of things in common. One is the construction industry. I've spent 40-some years in the construction industry. And also, we are both veterans. So Juan served as a military police in the Army, and I served, for the most part, as an infantryman in the Army. So welcome, Juan.
Hello, Patrick.
And tell us a little bit about the AGC, Associated General Contractors, and what your part is with it there.
Yeah, so for a little bit of clarity, so I work for a different company, Materials Testing and Inspections, but I am on a committee or on a chair. I chair a position with the Association of General Contractors. And the position that I'm in there is Veterans Outreach. And so being a veteran myself, I've kind of experienced a little bit of what it is being a veteran going into the workforce. Yeah. And what we found through some of our meetings there is that there's a need for gapping, like bridging the gap between veterans that are coming out
Yes.
and then veterans that could come into the construction
Yes.
industry. There's a huge opportunity in there, and being in the construction industry, as you know yourself, it's a very good opportunity.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so,
I know when I started out in the construction industry, I was 8 years old working for my dad. And by the time I got drafted, this was back in 1968, when I got back home, the question was, are you going to be at work Monday?
right,
So
right.
I had a job there. But that's not the case all the time. So looking at how we're getting the returnees or all of those veterans that are coming out of the service connected into the trades is really part of what you're doing then.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
That's exactly what's going on, and we're teaming up with a lot of different organizations to do this. So it's not just me as one individual. There's a huge group. I mean, it's a big group of people.
fantastic.
Yeah, we have like WorkSource Oregon, WorkSource Washington. We're communicating with the VA directly. There's a doctor that has conducted a study on veterans retention. So the Department of Defense funded that, and they put it together. She did this huge study, and she's actually published that study. And there's actually a website. I want to say it's. Yeah, I don't want to say for sure because it's drawing a blank in my mind. The actual website. Well, maybe I'll talk and see if we can get it posted somewhere here. So anyhow, what they found is that with retention, a lot of times what it is that there's a lack of understanding or comprehension of how individuals operated in the military.
Yes.
Such as
Yes.
I'm sure you came across
Yes.
yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when we say terms like MOS, you know, some people, they hear that and they just, what does that mean?
Yeah. All the acronyms. Yeah.
Yeah. As what was it, Robin Williams? He had said in Good Morning Vietnam.
Oh, yeah, right.
Go down to the PX and you know the DFAS and you know and so a lot of that same stuff. We find that becomes relevant when it comes to the industry as well. You know, people are unfamiliar with that, and so essentially what we're hoping to do from some of those conversations that we had, we heard that there was about an 80% ratio of veterans that are coming out that are capable of going straight into the workforce. And so being right now where we are as far as economic development and transportation bills and things of that nature that are currently in place, what we're looking at is, can we bring in some of these veterans? Can we get them around the trades, especially since most veterans, they come from a trade school. You know, a lot of people don't understand that MOS, that's essentially a trade school.
Yeah,
That's what we went through. We learned. We figured out how to operate in groups, organizations, under tight deadlines. Teamwork,
Yeah,
exactly.
teamwork.
All these things are relevant to the construction industry.
Yes.
You know, you have a huge operation going on, and that's a big team.
Yeah.
And being able to engage and work within that team and to execute under a tight deadline and deliver a project and make sure that it comes out right. So, yeah.
Fantastic. So how are you seeing the veterans coming out as far as, say, leadership development? Are they looking at getting into leadership positions, foremen, superintendents,
Right.
positions like that also?
Right. And so I guess one part of this that I may have missed early on is that this position is fairly new within the AGC here in Oregon State. So I'm going on about 2 months now of taking on the position and building it. So right now there's not really the infrastructure. So when we talk about, you know, specific veterans, we haven't actually reached specifically out and touched with the veterans. We want to build the line or the chain, I don't want to say chain of command, but the logistic chain so that we can connect.
Kind of what it's going to look like,
Exactly.
how it can operate, what the capabilities is going to be.
Correct. That's where we're kind of filling that out and just kind of getting all the players to the table.
Yeah.
But I would say that from my personal experience as a veteran, when we talk about leadership and veterans, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity there. You know, veterans understand what it's like to be a team leader, and they understand the responsibility of people's lives, you know, and when you're out on a construction site, safety is incredibly important.
Yes,
You know, as any foreman or any project manager would say, at least I believe, first and foremost is to get the workers home safe.
Yeah.
You know, and
that's very true.
Make sure they can go home with a good living.
Yeah.
You know, go back to their friends and family and things of that
When I
nature.
started out in the trades, OSHA wasn't even existing. No such thing as OSHA back then. However, when OSHA came around, everything changed drastically, I tell you.
Right, I could only imagine.
A lot of things changed.
Yeah, which was probably a hard.
It was good.
It was good, but it was hard times, right?
Yeah, it was tough. But
Yeah.
it was really good. Yeah, we had to make changes in what we did. You couldn't ride the ball on the crane anymore. That was out totally.
All the fun.
Yeah, we're still here. But my dad drove safety into me constantly.
Yeah.
Safety was tops on a construction site. There's so many things that can happen just because you're creating something that is not a complete building, and the hazards are just tremendous.
Right.
So being safe is
huge.
huge.
Yeah.
Huge, very huge.
And so I guess with that, it seems like there's a huge opportunity for not only the veterans and the construction companies and the owners and the economic development that's going on in our state, but also for America as a whole. It just seems like a significant opportunity.
Yes.
So I guess the vision really is to build a nice infrastructure, build a system that we can actually monitor and we can facilitate the veterans into the workforce when it comes to construction. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. So we're really just those, like I said, the nuts and bolts of it and laying the blueprints, so to speak.
Yeah.
So that way we can be prepared and we can actually reach out and get the veterans into the construction trades.
So are you looking for other partners as well then in different areas particularly, or how is it coming together right now?
Yeah. So with that, right now, the idea is if you're wanting to be engaged in the veterans community, or it's something that's passionate to you, it's in your heart, and you want to be part of that, then of course that's what we're looking for, is partnering with whoever we can, because we really want to build a system around that. And we don't have all the answers right now because it's so early. It's just in the infantry stage. Is that the right word?
Yes.
Yeah, the infant
It's
stage,
the
not
infancy
infantry stage.
Infantry stage, yes.
The infant stage. So it's right there. So so it's kind of like we're learning it and building it. And so, of course, anybody who's engaged with the veterans community, yes, for sure.
So later on, we'll give them some information if they would like to get involved or find out a little more about it. We'll give you some information to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds great. That sounds great. So what else would you say is something that the program is going to need from the community in order to come together? Cooperation, different types of organizations maybe specifically that might be needed in this, trade development.
Yeah.
Right? So probably the subcontractors would probably be involved in developing training, I would imagine.
Correct. Yeah, and I know that there's programs such as the OJT, on the job training program, to where like the veterans can actually use their GI Bill essentially to become trained. And
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so there's different companies right now. Like most veterans are aware that they can go down to, say, a PCC or a Northwest College of Construction.
Yes, right.
And like you can go there and you can use your GI Bill. And so that makes sense. The biggest thing I would say when you talk about like community being aware of it, it's just to understand that the AGC is new, but the AGC has also been around over 100 years.
Yeah, it's been around a long time.
And it is a nationwide organization that is constantly being seen as a leader in our field.
Yes.
You know, the voice of the contractor, essentially. You know,
Yes.
whether it be getting involved with legislative or whatever other means they might be.
Yes.
You know, so I think that that's where it's going to be. It's going to be taking the time and understanding that in this area, we're building. And so in time, we hope to, like I said again, bridge that gap.
Yes.
And be there as the bridge,
Yeah,
you
the
know,
bridge, the bridge, to
exactly.
fill the gap.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're hoping to be that and just be supportive and allow for a veteran to find a career in this field and maybe be the voice of reason where, you know, I don't want to say that we're going to be the staffing agency, because by no means is that what it's going to be. It's going to be more about awareness. So
Awareness and then connecting with training and whatnot.
Correct.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to take a little bit of a break here.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we're going to be talking more about how the program itself and the philanthropy element of it is going to be coming together. So we'll take a break and see you just in a few.
Hi, I'm Phyllis Harmon. I'm a member of TV Toastmasters. In this club, we have an opportunity to practice speaking before the camera as well as running the equipment room. If you're interested in being interviewed on TV Toastmasters or becoming a member, please go to Toastmasters.org and look for us, or simply search for TV Toastmasters on the web.
Welcome back to TV Toastmasters, and we're talking to Juan Coronel, and we're going to go into talking about the philanthropy side of the program that he's working on with the Associated General Contractors. So Juan, tell us about philanthropy and how that connects with the program.
Right. So there's this idea, you know, when you talk about like veterans, you know, sometimes there's a stigma, and I in no way want to downplay PTSD, because it is significant, and it's serious. It's serious business. And so when we talk about philanthropy, it's more how can we be supportive of the veteran community? You know, we're not all medical doctors, and so of course the philanthropy project it's not going to be based around that we're going to leave that for the professionals, and we're just going to be helping as much as possible. And so with the AGC being around the construction industry, what we've came across is there is a program that's, once again, just in the beginning stages of itself. It's about 35 miles outside of Eugene, towards the west. So, and it's called Veterans Legacy Camp Alma. And what it is it's an old jail, essentially, that was no longer being used. It was just sitting out there.
Abandoned
facility. Right. It was an abandoned facility, not being used. And so what's happened is there was a sergeant that used to be out there. He used to be out there running and conducting the jail itself. And so he was aware after he retired, and so now he's retired, and he was aware that this facility was there. And him himself being a veteran, he said, well, what if we could build like a camp for the veterans where they could come, and if, you know, maybe they were struggling the integration process back into the civilian life, they could come out there and they could learn trades. You know, they could learn, you know, about agriculture. They could learn about, you know,
Like
the construction stuff.
Yeah,
like they got like a tractor out there now.
Have fun with those things.
Right. And so
out,
and then also have like some classes where you could like maybe do some, like, I don't want to say motivational speaking, but just like life skills.
Yes.
Talk about, you know, the integration from military back into civilian, and just kind of bridge that gap now. And so he's taken this on. And like, if you ever get the opportunity to, if you can even look up Veterans Legacy Camp Alma, and you can reach out to him and just kind of tour, you can see what he's got going. it's a lot of stuff, and it's really good. I mean, it's going to be great. Like, there's, let's see, there's chickens out there floating around. There's some goats out there. They're going to be having, what's the word I'm looking for? There's like cherry trees, apple. So there's an orchard.
Oh, an orchard.
That's the word. Yeah. So there's an orchard. There's a fruit orchard out there. They're going to be planting some blueberry plants.
Oh, right.
So there's going to be some of that going on. And then because there's so much land, there's probably, my brain wants to say 100 acres. It feels like when you're out there, it's just open, wide, beautiful trees all around, not like right close. So it's a big, huge open field. And then there's like the tree line. And so there's just a lot of space to get out in the nature, you know? And so the idea and the conversations that are being had is that we could also do training and build like tiny homes.
Yeah.
And do like some of your OSHA 10, you know, some of your safety training once again, and try to give the veterans some skills so while they're out there, they can then take it into the construction trades.
Yeah. And if they're doing something like tiny homes, there's a lot of mobile tiny homes also. They could sell those.
Correct.
They could have something going to help support what they're doing.
Right.
That's
And
quite big.
and even on that note, there's also, I want to say, so here recently, the Chamber of Commerce for Salem actually came out and they toured. And they invited some of the local businesses out there to kind of become aware that this program is going on. And when they were out there, they were talking about the tiny homes. So it's interesting you say that. Somebody else had mentioned that they know somebody who's wanting to build tiny homes because they have the materials. And so they had said...
The labor.
Yeah,
Material,
they said,
labor,
yeah, exactly.
All together, yeah.
And next thing you know, now you have a business model. And so that's kind of the idea. So the gentleman out there, he's super passionate about it, and they talk about, and it's not just the gentleman, but the group in general. You know, just the feel of the whole group, is that we don't want it to be a grant-based thing. We want it to be a self-sustaining, its own machine. And with the internet and everything that's going on, you can easily start outsourcing your business through that. And, you know, or even go into the local farmers markets, whatever it be, but keep it so that it's self-sustaining and we don't have to constantly worry about grants.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they're going to get more out of it that way also.
Correct.
Where it's not just something being given, but they're producing something and producing a product that is going to help their esteem, help them financially, and who knows where that could lead.
Exactly.
Right? Who knows?
Yeah.
Possibilities are endless.
Right, exactly. And especially it being like a community type of a feel, it's kind of opening doors to where you have like schools that are showing an interest. They're like looking at it as opportunities where they can get the veterans involved with the school, and the school's looking at it like, well, how we can actually train. And so it's, like I said, it's just in the beginning, but everything that seems to be going on right now around it is incredibly positive. And I personally, I look forward to seeing what comes out of it. Yeah. You know.
I'd certainly like to get involved in that with you also. So sign me up someplace in there. But yeah, so that's great. So then how does someone then get involved with this to get more information on it? Where would they go? How can we draw them into it? You know,
sort of
get
call
some more
to
information. Call to action. Bottom line is action, isn't it? Yes.
Right. Let's take steps in the right direction.
Right.
So there's a couple different ways I would say. One is you can find me on LinkedIn, and you can go about it that way, and you can send me a message. You can link with me on there. You know, Juan Coronel, like I'm on there. You should be able to find me. I believe even my number's on there. Just don't call me after, say, 9 o'clock at night. Unless it's an emergency, then I guess I'll pick it up and tell you to call the emergency line. But there's that way. You can contact me via LinkedIn, or you can just Google, especially if you're looking at Camp Alma. You can Google, Veterans Legacy, Camp Alma. And then if you're wanting to learn more about the AGC as a whole, it's just Google AGC and you'll have it on there.
Yeah, they've got their website. Now, is there any information on the AGC's website connecting to the program, or is that something that's being developed into it now also?
Correct.
As you get the program going, like you said, it's just in its infancy stages right now.
Right.
So I would guess that eventually they will have something on the website that'll direct people to
Correct.
the program.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're 100% there.
Okay.
It's because it is so new. There's not.
Yeah.
It's not there just yet.
So the AGC office that you work out of is in Portland? It's in Oregon someplace? Where?
It's Wilsonville.
Wilsonville.
It's out in Wilsonville.
Okay, so that office in Wilsonville, and they could direct calls to you from there also?
Correct. You could call there and
Okay.
and mention that you've heard about it here,
Okay.
and they would get you to the right person.
Okay, that sounds great. That
So.
sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with that, this is another episode of TV Toastmasters at a close, and we look forward to seeing you next time. And thank you, Juan, for being here, and thank you for sharing with us all that you have. Good night.
Speak in public? I'd rather be burned at the stake. At least that's how I used to feel, until Toastmasters. I went online and found a club that met every week at lunchtime, and they were close to my office, so it worked out great. I was really scared when I started, but no one pressured me to speak or pushed me to do anything I wasn't ready for. I felt safe, and I realized it was okay to be nervous and to make mistakes, because these people were going to support and encourage me no matter what. And now, well, let's just say things have changed. I speak in front of large groups, lead all-day seminars, and conduct presentations to top executives. Toastmasters changed my life.
There are over 100 Toastmasters clubs meeting all around the Portland, Vancouver area, near your office, home, or even your school. We meet on all days of the week, morning, noon, and night. Our clubs couldn't be more convenient or affordable at under $10 a month. Visit a couple locations and find the one that's just right for you. All the information you need is at Toastmasters.org.